everybody. Welcome to the Big Play Tailgate with Bob Golick and Chucky Booms. I'm Tony Zarella. When I got into this business many, many years ago, my father, who knew nothing about the business but was a wise old Italian man, once told me, you know, no matter what kind of mood you're in, you're going to have to be a professional because, you know, you're going to have to go out there and
I got to start that now?
So today's the day.
When you're a grown-up.
Today's the day. I bring it up because here we are in Week 11 of the NFL, and the Browns head down to New Orleans at 2-7, and it puts me in a really bad mood. And I'm talking about the Browns here and trying to salvage something and a reason to get excited. And maybe next Thursday I will get excited, but we'll talk about it. But right now, Bob, I'm not excited about this game. Should I be?
No, because the Browns are going to win 50-0. No,
I heard that somewhere.
You know, we seem like we're in a position that we always are in. We're waiting for somebody to step up and be the star, where it always seems to be one guy who's going to be the one that's going to save the day. We do have less injuries. Sounds like most of the guys are going to be back, even the offensive line. But, you know, we're always looking for that one person to put us over the edge so we can go, oh, we're on our way back. And it seems like we're absolutely in the same place that we always are.
Can I put you guys in a better mood
Please.
for this game with help of our great producer, Ryan? Ryan, do you have that music ready to kind of get them in the mood for Browns at the Saints?
Oh, yeah, you already know I do, Booms.
Okay, excellent. Because I think this is... When the Saints go marching in. Come on, everybody. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
Go marching in.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
They're going to march in.
That's Derek Carr over the middle for 7. It's now 14-0, and Jamus only has 1 pick. So, all right, excellent. That music, we're gonna. Well,
I can see everything you just said coming, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why when I hear that, Bob, I have a sudden feeling to look up on a balcony and see if someone's throwing beads at a topless woman.
Don't make him do it.
Yeah.
Bob, don't do it.
I've done that before. I don't know. It makes me think about the fact that Derek Carr was with the Raiders, and all my Raider buddies are going, "Oh crap, he sucks." So,
yeah, he's been looking quite well.
Then he got
first
hurt.
thing,
back.
have you guys? I know you have been to New Orleans. Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Once.
Okay.
Covered a game down there once.
Okay. Now let me just speak just for me. I don't know what these guys want to say. It's a toilet. It's one of the most unconscionable, filthy, dirty cities I have ever seen in my whole life. Yeah. And not only do people urinate in the streets, Kylie and I were down there for the Super Bowl, your big one. Patriots beat the greatest show on turf for their first ever Super Bowl. And we're walking through the French Quarter, and a girl actually went around the corner. She's projectile vomiting, and then proceeded to defecate on the street as well. And I said to Kevin, I don't understand why people don't come back here a lot. This is such a terrific...
Went around the corner for a little privacy. What the hell were you doing?
She's not a pig.
Creeping on her?
No pig.
You know, everybody talks about how New Orleans is a urinal, and you complain about that until the time comes that you have to pee.
She's the classy defecator. You act like she did it right in front of the place with the hurricane drink.
Standards, Bob.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay, so here we are.
I said something, but nobody heard it.
Browns are 2 and sorry, say it again because
I can't remember what I said.
Browns are 2-7, Saints are 3-7. Their bye week is next week. So here we are, and it's hard to gauge it because the Saints came out of the gate 2-0, and in week 2 they thumped a Cowboys team that had beaten up on the Browns the week before pretty badly. So okay, you think the Saints? Then the wheels come off.
Yeah.
Carr gets hurt. Spencer Rattler plays a few games. They lose 5 in a row.
Dennis Allen gets the boot.
Change coaches.
Yep.
So Rizzi, the special teams coach, takes over. Here's the point, okay? They're probably better than 3-7, but we could easily say the Browns should be a lot better than 2-7.
So my worry is from Chucky's Keys last week, all three of us got suckered into the Falcons are going to kill the Saints.
Right.
Yeah.
And that didn't go well for any of us.
We've seen too much good play by the Falcons.
Yeah, and thought that was an easy one. They're a dome team. They're in New Orleans in the dome. Yeah. Cousins has been playing great. So, but I bring that up, guys, because that makes me worry about if with Carr back, as you said, the wheels were up, now he's back, and they can beat a team as good as Atlanta, uh-oh.
Right. Well, is there any reason? I'm going to bring it to you.
Yeah.
But is there any reason at all to feel good or expect any consistency even within one game from the Browns?
Well, if you're down there, their concession stand is one of the best. You can get a gumbo and a cup of gumbo and stuff, so it's pretty good at that point. But when it comes to, I look at what's happening. This is the first time after the bye that they're not showing anybody as having injuries. We had a couple of guys earlier.
Yeah,
in the
I saw
week.
that.
So
All 53 are in.
All 53 are in, and that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chubb he's showing great runs. And I think that the more he plays, the more he's going to feel more confident. Because mentally, coming off the injury like that, I mean, I saw a photo of that injury again, and I couldn't believe it. It just made me
the Pittsburgh one.
Vomit.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Well, go around the corner if you're going to projectile vomit.
At
At least she had the class to do it.
Mentally, physically is one thing. Mentally, knowing that people are going to be hitting your legs again, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other thing that's odd, and I happen to agree with Robert, if they were smart enough to actually run the football, this could be an interesting game where the Browns could do. But what point do we have faith, since they rearranged everything for Watson and Ken Dorsey came here specifically to run the spread? How do we have any confidence that they're going to run the ball any more than 10, 12 times anyway?
You get to this point in the season, they've been there outside of a few years recently where they seem to have put everything together into be a contender, and then now here we are again. It's like going back in time where you say, well, what do we salvage here, okay? I'm wondering, you got 2 games in 5 days, and the second of those 2, and we'll talk about it after the break, is the primetime showdown with the Steelers on Thursday night. I know there can't be a Browns fan that would rather have them win in New Orleans than Pittsburgh. They're not going to win both. So I know you'd rather have the Thursday night win, but the point is you got to get to that by at least, representing yourself well against the Saints, and I have a hard time seeing
Let me say something. Tony says you won't win them both, but follow me, and I will tell you we can win both because I'm a homer.
And you have us winning 50-0 against New
the
Orleans.
Saints and 100-0 against the
100-0. All right, much more to come here in the Big Play Tailgate.
Now I feel better.
Cavaliers. Got to talk about the Cavaliers, the best story in the NBA. Some unis the Cavs broke out. We're not sure about those.
North Carolina?
Right, and a header behind as well. We'll be right back. Back here on the tailgate, Jamus Winston spent a few years, I think it was 4, with the Saints. After being at Tampa, they sent him off to get Brady and win a Super Bowl. He goes to New Orleans, plays 4 years. He goes back. Does it matter? Does it matter that he's going back to New Orleans in terms of his performance?
He might have flashbacks of the uniforms and think they're teammates and throw the ball to him.
Well, he's going to do that anyway.
He's going to do it anyway.
I promise you that's coming.
It's more likely to happen.
Hey, I recognize that fleur-de-lis on the helmet. Here.
Exactly. You always like to go back and play against a team that got rid of you. And you want to show that, hey, everything's gone well. But I think it's been a lot of years, and I think it kind of fades as time goes on. So I don't think it's going to be.
When you went to the Raiders, did you come back to Cleveland?
We did play Cleveland.
And when
I went to
here?
Cleveland, we played the Patriots a couple of times.
And so it mattered to you?
It mattered to me, yeah.
So
I played nose tackle instead of linebacker with the Patriots, nose tackle with the Browns. And one of the coaches comes up and goes, I don't know. Why didn't we think about moving to nose tackle? I said, I have no idea. Billy Sullivan, the owner, goes,
oh, yeah.
Bob, it wasn't my fault.
It was Patrick Sullivan.
It was Patrick Sullivan.
Or who was the coach back then?
It was like David Modell.
Right.
For those of you following at home, that means the Browns franchise over the last 30 years still can't figure out how to take a great player and put him in the position that he should be in, or the Patriots, or any other team. So, Jamus, well, I mean, as Bob said, he's already interception prone as it is. And so now that I do want to say this, that on 92.3, The Apologists, they were talking about that this is a revenge game. And I was laughing so hard. I'm like,
what?
revenge of what? I don't know. They're like, that's why they were all pumped up. They're very fired up about Jamus going back to New Orleans.
God.
Oh,
This
my
is
God.
revenge. And that was, Bob, I wanted to bring that one to you and tee it up for you because, as Tony just talked to you about when you played former teams, but where's the revenge?
Yeah.
They let him go. He was there for you. I don't understand. Baker playing the Browns. Here's my mini Baker. That's for Andrew Barry.
Mine
But
too.
I get Baker coming back and that kind of thing. But again, do you
No,
guys feel anything that has the
No.
word revenge in it?
No.
Well,
I
so
mean,
many.
Baker would, if Baker came back, because it's been a bunch of years, but because of the success that he has going on now, he'd love to come back and show the Browns coaches, front office, hey, look what you missed. But as far as Jamus, it's
definitely
It's not the
not a
same.
revenge.
Baker Mayfield was a #1 pick in the draft. He
Right.
was supposed to be the franchise guy here for a very long time. He won a playoff game for you. Okay, there's no comparison to
Except
Jamus,
Jamus was a #1 pick.
but not for us though.
I
And he
know,
was
I
never
know.
projected to be right. It didn't work out in Tampa. He was there a while, and he had put up some numbers, but didn't long term didn't work out.
Most crab legs stolen.
What
I
are your
believe.
What are your expectations for Jamus Winston here? Did you really think when they brought him in as a backup it was a long-term situation?
I'm glad you went there, my friend. Wow, talk about flow, Bob. Watch this. Well, no, is my answer to that, except also on both Cleveland sports radio stations. You ready? I'm worried about his health.
Me or Jamus?
No, yours. They said, with a straight face, if he gets on a roll these last 8 games, you have to really seriously consider a little bit longer deal and bring him back and let's get going into next year. And I was like, oh, God.
No.
Oh,
You can't-
God.
No.
They
You
can't possibly think that.
You can't do it, and you can't have the same decision makers. You can't. You can.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can, and then we're going to be here in a year having this same conversation.
But that's what we did with Deshaun. We brought a guy in who had a great past, and we were just waiting for him to find that in his future, and it just hasn't happened and won't happen. And with Jamus, I think it's the same thing. I think he came in to be the backup to Deshaun.
But
He's
why
gonna
can't
get a
these
plays,
people
and that's
on
it.
Why can't these people on the air? Is it because the Browns are on both sports stations? Why can't they come on and go, Jamus Winston's going to start. He sucks. And he's absolutely not the answer coming back. He's only on a 1-year deal. Who the hell would want him to come back? I don't understand these weird radio time-consuming discussions about something. That's why he gets
they
so
don't want to say it.
perplexed.
They don't want to say it. Hey, you know what I thought of the other day?
What's that?
Yeah, because Thursday night we have the Steelers in prime time.
Yes.
Okay. You realize the Steelers, they bring in Justin Fields, they bring in
Russell
Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It cost him $1 million for both quarterbacks. I think.
Nothing. All right. So there you go. The key point, the money. But Justin Fields is winning. He's not lighting it up at all. In fact, he was coming off a win over the Raiders. I think he only threw for $145 in that game. And when Russell Wilson, Bob, was healthy, they made the change. They didn't feel indebted to Justin Fields. They thought, long term, this is not the answer. So let's go to this guy. It's a decision the Browns never seem to make when they say, okay, maybe he's not the guy. I don't care what we're paying him. Let's make the move.
No, and they're not going to do it, Bob. And that's been the history of the Browns. They did, and then they do it in an inverse manner, which has you yank your hair out, which is, hey, Flacco's got the whole town on fire. He's comeback player of the year. He wants to come back. Why don't we have him come back? They just completely shut that down. No, we're going with what I'll tell you what I think it is. And Bob, you know this better than anybody, having been in those Steeler rivalries. Yeah. I said to Tony off the air that there's a reason the Steelers can do that. It's just simple. The Rooneys run it. They're the owners. They stay out of everybody's business. I'll buy someone a hamburger if you can tell me the general manager of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know why you don't know his name? Because he doesn't insert himself and he's not out there. The Steelers also don't have 27 analytics pinheads running around the stadium and telling you what to do and all that. And they have a coach that it's his team, he decides. So when Mike Tomlin says, Justin, thanks, appreciate the $1.25 that you throw for every week. He has a Super Bowl ring. He's coming in. And then the press goes, why? He's winning. Next question. He doesn't have to answer to you. Mike Tomlin's the coach. No GM interference. And the owners stay the hell out of it and sign checks. That's what we need.
And the Steelers have a history of success. I mean, we've watched them through three head coaches, and they've done nothing except win time after time. Bus leaves, and then next thing you know, you've got new running backs who are just tearing it up. What was that? Le'Veon Bell, I think.
How about Franco Harris and Rocky Bleier?
But they've been able to do that. So I really think they feel comfortable with the idea of going, hey, time to get him out of there and just cut it short. I think our guys are trying to, like with Deshaun, was trying to okay, we got to give him a couple more weeks. We got to see if he comes out of this.
Absurd.
No.
I know.
No, when you do, when it's a little
there
aren't a couple. I'm not yelling at you. There aren't a couple more weeks.
Yeah, no.
A couple more weeks. The season's over.
Right.
And now here we are at 2-7. And you really didn't have much to turn back to, no offense, Jamus, because that is what it is.
They're afraid to look bad. If we do this and then we do that, then they're going to think this and that. And as we've said, that all three of us said that, we already think you look bad. And then by doing this Watson thing, and by the way, had he not torn his Achilles, he would still be playing.
He would still be playing.
They would still be doing it.
Yeah.
And saying, well, we have to.
And
the Steelers don't, because they have a culture, and the culture is winning, and they also don't put up with malcontents, like, say, a number 10 draft pick who says, I'm not going to play because, well, it's a business decision. The Steelers don't put up with that crap, no matter how good you are. They show you the door, and every year, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. Can you imagine saying that about a Cleveland coach?
No.
Okay, Omar Khan, by the way. You owe me a Five Guys burger. All right?
Oh, that's the...
It's got to be Five Guys.
Five Guys?
Yes.
Let me get a loan out from the
All
bank.
right. I got to take a break here, and we're going to do Ahead or Behind when the Big Play Tailgate rolls on.
Don't miss this one.
All bad things must come to an end. That includes losing streaks in Ahead or Behind. So let's get to it. Chucky Booms, it is time.
It certainly is time, you guys. It's time for the game show Sweeping the Nation. From San Diego, California to Kennebunkport, Maine, and from Seattle, Washington down to Key West, where I'll be taking MMA stud muffin Jake Paul after his fight with Mike Tyson and letting him know I'll happily put ice on his boo-boos, but I won't put it there. It's Ahead or Behind.
Bring it. Let's go.
And
Bobby, I got you
in honor of the 11th day of the 11th month, the 11th hour, as we salute our great veterans of the United States of America.
Get up out of
I
bed.
hold in my hand the top 21 U.S. generals of all time.
Ryan Pullis.
Here it is, Ryan. He's becoming his own little Dr. Evil over there. Top 21 generals of all time, and what a fulcrum we have in the middle.
Do you think we can have a list one time of the generals that Pete Hegseth is going to fire?
Oh, that's coming.
Yeah.
That's next week's list, Bob.
I'm dying to hear. How about was it General Soreness? What was the one that when Baker was here? It became a
General
meme.
Soreness.
Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know that one. All right, here we go. Top 21 generals of all time. Right in the middle, George C. Scott himself, George S. Patton, the meanest SOB to ever command the troops over in Europe, and Trump's favorite general. I wish we all had generals like Patton.
Blank through a goose.
Hey, no
right.
man ever won a war by dying for his country.
Yeah. You won by the other
All right,
or
special-
SOB dying.
Special chance, one of you buzz in here. This is to get an early lead without doing a header behind. What kind of dog did Patton have?
Oh, what are those little laptops that you?
It's not little.
No, it's that little white dog. With
He's
the
not
funny
little.
head.
He's not
He's
little.
Well,
not-
it's not little, but he's got.
I just said he's not little.
I've had Malamutes.
Yeah.
He's 120 pounds. So
yeah.
it's small.
Doberman.
He's one of those.
You gotta
one
go
of-
ahead, give him a buzzer for.
He's one of
And
those.
give Bob one just for saying Malamute. What the hell is
That was a
that?
candy.
Yeah.
Alaskan Malamute.
That was a
The
chocolate bar.
correct answer is
No, it's-
Bull Terrier, and the funny nose
That's
is
what I
it's-
was. Did
it's-
I just not say that?
Yeah, it's
funny
Spud,
nose.
Spuds McKenzie is a Bull Terrier, and so's the Target dog.
Okay.
Although Target dog has those circles around his eye. I've
been up
never
all
seen
night.
that. Yeah.
Up all
All
night.
right, here we go.
Advertising.
Top 21 generals of all time. Right in the middle of the list is Patton. Bob,
What?
is Robert E. Lee, the Confederate general himself, is he ahead of George Patton or behind?
Let's see. I've got to weigh.
Don't let which side won the war sway you.
I've got to weigh knowledge against political correctness. So I think he's ahead.
He thinks that Robert E. Lee is ahead. He is.
Yeah.
One of the top, a West Point grad, was actual buddies with Ulysses S.
Yeah.
Grant before the war started. All right, Tony, your turn, buddy. George Patton in the middle of the list of the 21 top U.S. generals of all time in honor of Veterans Day. Here's a guy who didn't waste any time. He walked right into Iraq, kicked some ass, and walked right back out. General Norman Schwarzkopf. Is he ahead or behind?
That's an easy one. Ahead.
Unfortunately, he's not ahead, Tony.
See, Tony,
it's
I would
almost
have gone with that.
Right. I know you. I mean, anybody would.
Yeah,
It's almost
right,
like
yeah.
we live in an alternative universe. Like,
You realize that,
that's not enough. Going to Iraq.
when Tony is so sure and misses it, I don't know if you can see it on screen, but my nipples are hard. I mean, I can't. It's the joy I get.
Luckily, I don't see it here.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's get Bob back on the board, see here if he can do it. Bob?
What?
21 top generals. Patton's right in the middle. And I'd now like to ask you about a guy who said very famously, burn Atlanta, save Savannah, as he marched through the South. William Tecumseh Sherman, the big, great Union general. Is he ahead or behind George Patton?
Ahead.
He is ahead, and so is Bob 2-0.
So I guess Bob is specializing in the Civil War questions.
All right.
I spent some time
let
in
me,
Atlanta.
So let me do a Civil War one for you because there's
Thank
so many
you.
great generals. All right, here we go. Patton right in the middle of the list, 21 top U.S. generals of all time. Donald Trump, President Donald Trump at the time, as they went to this glorious statue. He's right in the middle of Lafayette Park where you can look out the window and see him. He's also in the background. Every president leaves him. In the background, there's a statue in the Oval Office. One of the great names and great legendary generals of all time, Thomas Stonewall Jackson. Ahead or behind?
I'm going
Patton.
to say behind.
Damn it. I thought sure I gave such a nice presentation. I had you.
I'm on the board.
He's
You're
on the
right.
board.
Remember they tried to tear it
2 to
down?
1.
It
Yeah.
was so big they couldn't get it.
No, and then Trump passed that thing that said if you
2 to 1.
attempt
I'm on
to
the board. 2 to 1.
attempt to tear down a statue, it's 10 years in
We're gonna
prison.
shoot you.
All right, here we go. 2-1. He wants to make a comeback. Bob, right in the middle of the list is George S. Patton. How about old, rough, and ready? I believe he goes on to be president as well. A great general known as a great tactician, Zachary Taylor. Zachary Taylor, ahead or behind George Patton?
Behind.
Son of a... Got it again. I thought
Okay. We're going to have to make this one worth... It's a triple.
Here we go. This is a big one. All right. This is easy.
I'm down 3-1.
All right.
This is a triple.
It's got to be worth 3.
It's a general. It's a president. And he died 30-some days into office because he had his inaugural parade in a pouring rainstorm.
That's right.
And I believe he and his brother Benjamin, or his cousin or whatever, they're from Ohio originally. I can't tell you much about him as a general, but Patton's in the middle of the list. Is William Henry Harrison ahead or behind?
Bill Harrison.
You knew him as Bill.
I knew him as Billy.
Billy.
Behind.
Billy.
Now we got, how much time do we have?
Is that worth 3?
What do we got? How much time?
It's 3-3. I say they buzz in.
All right, so you got to buzz in. So we don't have technology, so you'll have to come up with a noise. You're going to hit the counter. Bob, what are you going to do?
I'm going to hit the counter
That's
harder.
great. So now both
And if you get it wrong, you lose. If you
Right.
beat me and you do that, okay, let's go.
Listen to you tell them the rules after you just got a 3-point question.
Yeah.
We've already broken the
I
mold.
invented the game, Bob, 10 years ago. He's got the rules down.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Hands on buzzers. Have them ready. It's George Patton. He is in the middle of the list of the all-time great U.S. generals of all time. This man simply said those famous words, "I shall return," is General Douglas MacArthur, ahead or behind? Bob is in first.
Ahead.
And Tony goes down the tubes again. He is ahead.
The streak continues.
All right, here we go. Let me give you the top 10 while we get some lovely music underneath. Who do we think is number 1? This should be the...
George Washington.
George Washington is number 1.
General Milley.
General Milley is not on the list, and soon he won't have an office either. Andrew Jackson, number 2. Ulysses Grant, 3. Sherman, Bob, good on your part. He was 4th. Philip Sheridan is also from the Civil War. John J. Pershing, I believe that's WW1. Douglas MacArthur. George C. Marshall, they named the Marshall Plan
Marshall
after
Plan.
him. Yep, to rebuild Europe. And I was going to give you this one. Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Would be ahead.
He comes in at 10th. He's ahead.
Good
So,
job, Ryan. Good stuff.
Was Teddy
fantastic
Roosevelt?
list.
Was Teddy Roosevelt a general?
You know who else made this list for Bob Golick? This has got to be. He's got to have a picture of this guy by his bed. Alexander Haig. Remember Haig?
I'm in
with
charge.
Reagan?
I'm in charge.
I'm in charge.
The president's in the hospital. Who's running it? The VP?
I'm in
No,
charge.
I'm in charge.
Ah.
Great list,
All right.
Ryan.
Coming up,
Fantastic.
your NFL picks, Chucky's keys to the game. But first, Cavaliers. Got to talk about them when the tailgate rolls on.
By the way, Tony,
Good look on you, though.
Little Baker, I was just talking to in the break. He said,
How's he doing?
You know, well, he's doing great. He's in Tampa, and he's in top 5 in all passing categories.
Are his arms abnormally long?
I
his
don't
hands
know.
are
They
so
go
big.
down to
But
his knees.
you're one of the NFL legends, you know, where you get the little toys. I have it and all that stuff. Have you ever seen a action figure this big in your life?
It's bigger than Baker. Actually, it's actually
All
bigger
mine
than the
does-
real
all mine
Baker.
does is go like this.
Hold on, what's that big? He said you lost again at a header behind.
Yes, I did.
All right.
All right, Cavaliers. So, did anybody expect this kind of start? Probably not. And here's the second question: do you think, Chucky, that this incredible start for the Cavs is getting enough respect nationally?
Not in the least. And are you not shocked as the Cavs are the 13 in a row as of this moment?
As of this taping, of course.
As of this taping.
We tape on Friday, so they get the Bulls tonight. But
yeah, and then they got another one Sunday, and the Celtics next week will be a
Tuesday.
test. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tuesday. So no, and they'll open with LeBron against whatever, and I'm like, I'm sorry, aren't we the only undefeated team in the NBA? They're now sixth longest streak of all time. Biggest one, of course,
Since the Warriors.
24 by the Warriors. But in answer to your question, no, which is why I think that they need to keep this going. And, this goofy NBA Cup thing, Bob, why not go win it? If you're not going to pay attention to us, Ryan and I had a great talk about it off the air. If you're not going to pay attention to us because we're the only undefeated team, then why don't we just go kick all your rear ends and win the NBA Cup?
Yeah, and I don't know why is it they're not getting the notoriety except with us. But they've won 13 in a row. Maybe people are thinking, beginning of the season, they're lucky. Because a lot of people are going to say, new coach, new offense, new defense, they're playing different than they have before. Is that going to work or is that not going to work? I mean, we've seen coaches come in all sports and change the game. I
think that's a great point. And Tony, Ed argues the fact that's even more reason to cover him because they could have been, right?
Yeah. It's a great story. I wonder if people here may think, it's an anti-Cleveland. It's not an anti-Cleveland thing. It may be a smaller market thing, or it could be a star power thing. Is there any star power? To me, there is. I think Donovan Mitchell has star power, but maybe he doesn't outside of Northeast Ohio.
Well, Darius Garland is playing like an all-star again. Jared Allen, I believe, leads the league in double-doubles already, and not our favorite double-double from In-N-Out Burger. And if anyone in L.A. would like to send some of those to us, we'd be delighted. But I agree with it. It's Donovan Mitchell, and then it's whatever. But that's what the star power is, guys, is he's playing 10, 11, 12 guys a night. Yeah. Everyone's fresh. And by the way, they have been blowing pretty good teams out. Mm-hmm. We've also been behind to some not-so-great teams and battled back. So they've won these 13 in different ways. And it's just a shame that they can't take their New York, L.A. blinders off and talk about it.
I mean, they're averaging like 124 points a game.
Yeah,
or something
highest scoring team in the NBA.
And I think you're right, though. I agree with you as far as they're local. They're not getting the national. I mean, it's kind of like Michael Stanley. You know, he was a great musician. I always like bringing Michael's name up.
He was a great friend too. I loved Michael.
So here's the thing: the NBA is built.
He can't love you like I love you.
The NBA is built on marketing its top tier guys. And when David Stern resurrected the league 40 years ago and built it on Bird and Magic, and then Michael came in and all that
Dr. J. And
Dr. J was So yes, and I totally get it. So they're going to look at LA, not just market size, but LeBron is the guy.
I think
they're going to market the bigger guys.
I think the other thing they don't want us to look at, Tony will love this. Ryan and I had a good laugh on the phone about it. The Eastern Conference is the Cavs are 13-0, the defending champion Celtics are 10-2 or 10-3, and the rest of the Eastern Conference is below 500.
Yeah, it's not great.
And so if you focus on maybe the undefeated team or the Celtics, you can't have a conference with them.
But they're a great story.
The Sixers are 2-9.
Do we have a photo of the jersees? If we don't, we'll move on.
Not the City Connect.
Okay, I wanted to. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just. They broke out these powder blue North Carolina type of jerseys that didn't really make any sense to anybody. So Cavaliers, great story, great
coach, great.
Jerseys, not so great.
City Connect. They're wearing them Sunday. I just don't know why, Bob. When you see these, you're not going to believe
Google
it.
Google it when you get a second, and then
they're powder blue. I said as soon as I saw them. I said, Bob, when I saw them, I said, I didn't know we were going to wear the Denver Nuggets uniforms. That's nice. They're just...
it's strange, but anyway, hopefully the Cavaliers keep it rolling. I don't care at all about the cup. I don't care. I think, no, I don't care.
Okay.
Long term,
Tonight, by the way, since
Tuesday's the matchup. Tuesday's the matchup.
But tonight is the cup game. Cavs only have 2 home games during the cup chase, and we have to get ready to see the floor tonight. If you think those uniforms are bad, wait till we see the floor.
If you haven't seen it before, those are them. They do look like North Carolina.
They look like North Carolina.
So anyway, but they're a great story. And then what a week this is going to be. And we'll talk more about Steelers-Browns in a second. But what a week. Because Tuesday, Cavs-Celtics, and Thursday, Browns-Steelers.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Chucky's keys to the game. So get your pens ready,
Yeah.
and we're going to do some NFL picks.
Take
when
it
we
from
come
the
back.
guys who all picked the Falcons last week.
All right, back here in the Big Play Tailgate with Chucky Booms, Bob Golick. I'm Tony Zarella. Let's get to it. Chuck.
It's time for Chucky's Keys to the Games. Except don't ask me because I picked Atlanta over.
You can't get past
I can't get over it. I just told these two. A friend of mine's in one of those King of the Mountain things you can't miss. You pick one game every week. He picked the Falcons too, and he's out. So
Doesn't take much.
All right,
No.
let's
Yeah.
start with this. What a showdown in the AFC North. The Ravens at the Steelers. Steelers know they're coming here on Thursday night. I'm sure they're not even worried about it. But the Ravens go into the Berg favored by 3.
the Ravens are favored by 3?
Ravens are favored by 3.
All right.
Did I hear Lamar is nicked?
He's always a little nicked.
Yeah.
Because of, I mean, probably. Boy, I'm shocked, Bob, by the spread that Tony just gave us. This is a big game. I think the Steelers know they can take command of the division because of what he also alluded to. They're thinking this is a Tomlin thing. If let's take care of our business here with the Ratbirds, and then all we got to do is drive up to Cleveland and kick their ass, and then we've got the division locked up. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Really?
I want the points.
Yeah.
I want the points in Pittsburgh.
We're still talking about the Steelers, who we talked about before, about trying to find a quarterback, trying to find a system, try to find something that's going to let them be what they've always been. So putting them up against the Ravens, I mean, that's a tough order.
But the Ravens lost to the Browns.
I'm going with the Ravens.
Are you
Are you
really?
really?
Hey, one game a long time ago doesn't.
Okay.
I don't think tells the whole story.
The only reason I'm going to go with the Steelers here, the points help too, and they're home. But the reason I'm going with them is you can throw on this Baltimore defense.
Yes.
And I just think that's going to be the difference. I can't figure the Ravens out.
Pickens is going to have a big game. I
And I
think.
love
I'm telling you,
purple.
man, I can't. I thought the
purple.
Ravens, after losing their first two, they turned on the Jets, and I thought they were among the 2 best teams in the conference. And then they came here and lost, and I don't get it.
Last thing on the Ravens, I've seen their act before, and so I am not a believer because even when they turn on the Jets at the end and they have home field all through the playoffs and everything, something always happens, and Lamar Jackson just does not live up to, big
But
play, whatever.
when they turn on the Jets and are successful with it, their level of play is through the roof.
Almost
All
hard
right.
to beat.
And so that's a thing to take advantage of
All
or
right.
to
Next,
look at.
there's another big one.
Yeah, here's a big one. Kansas City Chiefs at Buffalo Bills, all right? So the Bills are favored against the unbeaten Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they're home. Bills have looked great. They're 8-2, but they're giving 2.5 to Mahomes. And people are starting to say, the Chiefs are 9-0, but they're the worst 9-0 team ever. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
They're 9-0.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they were obviously it was a good game last week, but they always seem to, besides just being a dominant team, they seem to be a team that takes advantage. They don't give up. I think they're used to winning. Somebody said you have the winning attitude. They seem to have the winning attitude.
They're never out of a
it's
game.
Never out of the game.
Yep.
Never enough. As much as I love Josh Allen, and the only reason I would love Buffalo Bills. But I'm going to go with Kansas City.
I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one. So Josh Allen, this is very weird. He's 3-1 in the regular season against the Chiefs. Stick him at Arrowhead or even in Buffalo in the playoffs against them, and it doesn't seem to go so well.
Yeah.
I was happy to see they weren't sure if Amari Cooper was going to play. You remember Amari Cooper,
I
don't you,
kind of remember
Cleveland?
him.
He's an old friend, just up the pike on his way to the playoffs. I think Josh Allen and Amari Cooper hook up a couple times here. I'm going to take the Bills, Tony, to hang the first L on the Chiefs.
Okay, I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. You can't get them off the field.
No.
You cannot. You talk about never being out of a game. They're never out of a drive because they're better than 50% on third downs. And Mahomes does his thing, and somehow they keep falling out of trees and landing on their feet. You know what I mean? They never.
I think they're so evil, the Chiefs, that they would rather lose to the Bills, Bob, on purpose, and then say, see you at Arrowhead for the playoffs, and then kill them again.
I think I've got an important question here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does
I have an important
Taylor
answer.
Swift go to away games? Will she go to Buffalo?
She has.
She has.
Okay.
Absolutely.
She has.
So Travis will be on his best behavior.
Would you know if she did? Would you know? It's not
Yeah,
like
they'll show her in a suite.
Oh, they show her.
Yeah.
They show her. They show her getting off the golf cart. They show her walking up. They show the photogs trying to shoot from down low and shoot up, if you know what I'm saying. And they actually have to have security say, stop doing that. Okay? There's some sick people in this
There's
world,
whole
Chuck.
websites for that.
Bengals at Chargers.
Bills Mafia, drunk as a skunk, and Taylor Swift might not be a good mix.
Bengals at Chargers.
Oh.
Bengals are getting 1.5.
Just watching the Bengals last week, I'm going to go their direction. I just, with Burrows and all the offensive people, Case, that they have, they can be explosive. And I'm just going to go that direction. Chargers, we saw. I didn't think that they were any big dominant thing. It doesn't take much to beat the Browns a lot of times. But, so I'm going Bengals.
You're going Bengals. All right, so I want to go Bengals. I want to go Bengals.
So you're going to take every team the opposite of me.
I'm saying I want to go Bengals because I do believe somehow in the end they're good enough to make the playoffs. But right now the Chargers are absolutely alive for the playoffs, and the only reason I'm taking San Diego / LA is they're at home at SoFi.
I thought you were going to say Harbaugh. And
Harbaugh's a big
yeah, me too. I just think he'll put him in a position. I think obviously the Bengals, they're kind of in the situation.
That's
like
a great point. He's a better coach than the
better coach, and the Bengals are in our situation.
Yeah.
Which is, okay, let's play it out. We're professionals.
Yeah.
Let's work on what we can work on. We owe a good product. We're not playing it for anything at this point. Keep Joe Burrow healthy, and that's what.
A lot of people don't know that it's Sam Weiss Day.
Well, that changes everything.
Okay.
When we come back, I want to take a break. We have one more segment, and I want to talk about not one, but 2 Browns games. And we won't have a point spread for the second one, but we can break down the matchup as well. We'll be right back. And continuing Chucky's keys to the game, Browns down in New Orleans, and they're getting 1 point, Chucky, to hit the road, go to the Dome, and take on a 3-7, but probably better than that Saints team.
Okay, for the Saints, I'm totally thrown here. I thought we were doing the Steelers.
No, we're going to do both.
Oh, we're going to do both. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any way the Browns can win down in New Orleans. I just don't see. Derek Carr's back. Whenever you switch coaches and then you get your first win, a big one, which New Orleans did against the Falcons, as I mentioned 100 times, the team then starts to come together and all that stuff. You're right. They did pound the crap out of the Dallas Cowboys, who pounded the crap out of us. I don't know if you can extrapolate and get anything out of that, but I'll take New Orleans, and I have them winning big over the Browns.
Seeing them having the new coach and winning. You're talking about how they're come together, but I've been on teams too where you've seen that happen, and you start to believe that, okay, we're good, but you still have problems. You're not fixed just because you got excited about having a new coach. So it's not a thing that's a given point. I think I've watched Derek too much to be too happy about having him as he's their starter. But I think I'm gonna go with the Browns. I think Chubb's coming along, and as long as they do a lot of play action with him, I think they got a good chance.
You think they can?
Saints.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think Chubb can actually get it rolling?
Yeah.
And you think
all 5 carries.
Their defensive line is sporadic at best.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm taking the Saints. I until the Browns, and I don't know when they will. sell me on some consistency and whatever. I just don't see it. I think the Saints are better than their record. So are we. We should be. But we haven't been. I'm going with the Saints. Now
your record is how did that go?
Well, Parcells said you are what your record is.
Yeah,
and that's 100%. All right, now let's get to it.
All right, so before we do, I have breaking news here.
Tell me, please.
The great people at FanDuel Sports, heard that we didn't have a spread for the Thursday night game, and they said, we can't have the Big Play tailgate not have a spread. So FanDuel has it at -3.5.
Browns are favored by 3.5.
Wow.
Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that it was that. We talked about this. You think the Browns are going to be favored over the Steelers?
No, I don't.
Right.
I think the Steelers are favored, and it could be higher after this weekend. They're going to change it.
Did you put vodka in this when I wasn't looking? Yeah. No,
all right, Bobby. Steelers, as of now, are favored by more than a field goal to come in here. Does being in prime time change anything?
It used to.
It used to when he was here.
But I don't know. I don't know that it's still. I mean, the television coverage of games now is pretty much every day of the week almost. So I don't think it's. I don't think it's as big a deal right now. I think it's going to come down to the two teams, and
that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad.
That is bad
for the Browns.
If the Browns can find some, and I know I'm a homer. I'm an ex-Brown. I mean, I'm always going to pick with them, but that means I've got to work very hard at finding a reason for them to win.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it goes on Chubb. I just hate the idea that Winston is so sporadic when it comes to keeping the ball at his receivers and throwing it to other people. But you're
taking the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns.
Okay. So here's the bad news and the bad news.
Good.
The bad news is if the Steelers should lose to the Ravens, they're going to come in here so pissed off with their hair on fire, you could get crushed. The other bad news is if the Steelers womp up on the Ravens, they then look at this game and go, this could basically lock the division away. Mm-hmm. We're going to take care of two AFC North guys in a matter of 5 days. So none of that adds up to anything good.
Oh, good.
And so I think that the crowd will be great, Bob, because Cleveland always rises up, even with a crap record and a crap team right now. Mm-hmm. They love the spotlight. Amazon Prime. We have it locally, but I'm going with the Steelers, and I think
3.5 as we do it, as we look at that spread, thanks to FanDuel. So you give it won't be close.
Yeah, I mean, and I like the half that FanDuel's doing too, because even if it's a field goal game, I don't think it is. I think the Steelers win big.
I agree with you. I think the Steelers come in here and beat them in prime time. I wish it was the other way around. It wasn't that long ago that even in bad years, you had that moment against the Steelers. I don't buy it. I don't see it coming out of New Orleans.
It doesn't feel like the rivalry either, guys.
It doesn't. We got
Bob,
about 20 seconds. But
it's been a long time. It's been a long time since it's felt like the rivalry. At time, it was just they became so dominant.
You know what, though? Got to go.
Speaking of rivalries, my Kentucky Wildcats smack Duke.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We'll end on that note. Congratulations. See you next week on the Tailgate.